All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to do the daily Bitcoin and Bitcoin miner update. We had a lot of action today, so I want to go through everything that happened. We had a big sell-off at the end of the day, but I think we're bouncing back. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Also, please smash the like button. And feel free to drop a comment below. In addition to that, in our pinned comment, you will see a link to our free Discord. So we'd love to have you over there. So let's get into Bitcoin. Let's start out by looking at the Bitcoin miner big board. So if you look at the board, you're going to see it's almost all green. Today was a good day. Bitcoin had a very good 24 hours. Almost all of the Bitcoin miners were green today. Now there's two that were red. Coors was down 2.6% and Wolf was down 1.4%. This seems to be a new trend. There's one or two or three outliers per day, and these stocks don't all move exactly in unison. So I don't get too worried on a day where a stock is red on a green day anymore, unless it starts to turn into a trend. But that I don't think is the case for any of these stocks right now. On the flip side, some of these stocks were up big today. It looks like DigiHost had the biggest day. It was up 12.59%. So that's been a long time since they've been leading the pack. DigiHost has been beaten down quite a bit. It's still only at $3.13. Iris had a big day, up 8.4%. Cleanspark had a nice day, up 6.4%. And Marathon and Riot also both had nice days, up 6.5% and 5.7%. So a lot of good days, a lot of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7% into the green. 2 in the red. Okay, this is the Bitcoin chart on the 3-minute time frame. So each one of these candles represents 3 minutes. I'm only going to spend a second here on this particular time frame. I just want to show you what happened at the end of the day today. So basically, I'm here to show you this candle. This red candle right here, that is one 3-minute candle. So you'll see we traded down a little bit and then sideways the rest of the whole day. And basically the last 3 minutes into the close, we had this high volume and a big push down. So somebody was trying to make a move at the end of the day. You can see immediately afterwards, it has been reversed and undone. But that did leave us closing the day at our lows. So most of the Bitcoin miners were actually up a lot more than what you saw on the final board. Some of them were up double that earlier in the day. And you'll see when we get to the few that we look at, most of them came way off of their highs from the day. And so I suspect if this momentum can continue, we could possibly get some catch up tomorrow. Let's go back to a little more realistic time frame here. This is Bitcoin on the 15-minute time frame. So each one of these candles is 15 minutes. So once again, you'll see here was the close of the day. So I make an orange line at the end of each day to designate when the equity markets closed. This is where Bitcoin was at. So this orange line was where Bitcoin was at yesterday. From yesterday's close until today's close, Bitcoin was up almost 2.7%. Even though we basically closed on the low of the day. At one point during the trading day, Bitcoin was up a full 5%. So it gave almost half of that back right at the close. I want to point out this pink line. This is an important line of resistance/support, and I think we are about to turn this into support. This has been resistance. When we zoom out, you'll see that this has been resistance for a bit. But today, we went above it. We did go below, and I'm on the 15-minute chart. So we closed a bunch of 15-minute candles below it, but then we got right back above it, hung out there, and then we fell below it at the close. And again, remember, this is a 15-minute candle, but it was really only 3 minutes of this time that was below the line. And it turned right back around and went back up. And you can see the next 1, 2, 3 15-minute candles all touched this line, but it held, and then we've gone up from here. So it seems like we've regained our momentum. The day was a little bit sideways, and unfortunately we watched the miners kind of drift down off of their highs all day long. Still mostly ending up all green, having good days, but nowhere near the day that they were having earlier on in the day. I've switched to the 4-hour time frame. So on this one you can really see the first thing is, so for the last week we have been trending upwards. But more importantly, what I wanted to point out on this time frame, and again, this is the 4-hour time frame, so each one of these candles is 4 hours. This line was acting as resistance. We tested this here on March 9th and it failed. We tested it, we touched the line again here on March 18th and it failed. Once again, the very next day on March 19th, and now today, actually yesterday we touched this and didn't get through it, but now today we did get through this. And it looks like we stand a very good chance of closing the daily candle above this. So that would be significant, because if we can turn this back into support, then we can take the run that I've been talking about maybe for the last few weeks here that seems like it keeps getting stalled out. So I want to look at a few of the indicators, because I really think everything moved in the right direction today. So I still believe we're headed back towards 45,000. I'm going to zoom out to the 1-day time frame. So this was a pattern that we were in that we talked about on yesterday's video. So I'm not going to go too deep into this, but you can see this wedge pattern, we've been testing the upside several times. So we had a little bit of a breakout, but didn't hold back on February 9th. We had another breakout, and it really looked like we were going to break out. We got back up to this line of 45,000. Both of these times we candlewicked up to this $45,000 line. So that's my target, because we've been there twice. We've tested this twice and failed. I believe we're heading back to this. In the meantime, you can see once again, this is the third time we are now trying to break out of this wedge to the upside. We were as high as this at one point in the day, and the day is not over yet. So we will see if this candle closes inside or outside of the wedge. But once again, it's clear we're putting pressure on the upside to try to break out of this wedge. And I think the more times this gets tested this severely, the more likely we are to break to the upside. The other two things I want to look at are the RSI, so I'm going to pop this out full screen. If you remember, my little rule is good things happen for Bitcoin above 50 on the daily RSI. So we crossed that several days ago. We got down yesterday to about 52. So I was getting nervous that we were headed in the wrong direction. But this held strong and reversed today. It's now at just under 58. So these peaks keep getting higher, and we still have a lot of room to the upside to make this run. And that is how I think we're going to get from somewhere just under 43,000 right now up to 45,000. That's the next threshold. And I think we've got enough room here on the RSI. The other thing I want to show you is the MACD. So I'm going to pop that out for a second. Okay, we had a bullish crossover here on March 15th. That was the same day that the RSI went over 50. So those two things happened simultaneously. That was very bullish. The histogram has been green for days and days, but you can see it was a lighter shade of green for the last few days, and it was heading down. So while we still were heading up, we were losing momentum. And today we shifted back into dark green, and we seem to be having momentum move in the right direction. You can see this is a fairly small move to the upside compared to, these moves here and here. So there's lots of room left to take a nice little run for even if it's just a week or two. And you can see on the 1-day time frame, you can see why 45,000 is basically my target. And it's really 45,500. And that is because we went below that back here on December 27th, which means all year this year, we have been below this line, but we have tested it once and twice. So it does seem like we're in another upward trend right now. So I think we're going to take a third run at this. So it's too soon to tell what's going to happen when we get there. Obviously, we'd like to see it close above this somewhere around 46,000. That would tend to indicate that we're going to take the next leg up on this bullish run. However, for the moment, I'm just looking to get to this $45,500 line and retest that. We'll see what happens when we get there. I want to take a look at Bitfarms first, because Bitfarms, you can see this was the close yesterday. And Bitfarms jumped on the open today and ran up. Bitfarms was up just over 9% at the peak, and that was really only, between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. So right away it ran to its high, and then the rest of the day it slowly just spent pulling backwards all the way into the close, where it closed at up 2.74%. Still a nice day for Bitcoin, but definitely, this is 2 days in a row that we've watched the progress on the day just dwindle away. I'm going to draw a super quick trend line so you can see what's happening. This is a trend line that goes back to March 14th again, so just a little over a week ago. But you can see in this past week, we keep bumping into this ascending line. So this is still holding, which is a good sign. I'd like to see it break out. This white line is where Bitfarms was on September 29th, which was when Bitcoin hit its September low. And that was at around 40 or 41,000. So Bitcoin is higher than that right now, yet Bitfarms has not yet caught this line. So I believe Bitfarms has some catching up to do. I think several of these Bitcoin miners have some catching up to do, and this is one of them. It is hit or miss. A few of these have passed this white line, some of them by a bunch. Most have not gotten back here yet. So because Bitcoin is at a higher price and all of these Bitcoin miners are doing a much higher volume of business than they were back in September, I really think that their prices properly would be reflected above this line, if not way above this line. So that's why I'm bullish on some of these, and that's my thoughts on Bitfarms. I'm expecting to run up past this white line, and then we'll see where we can go from there. I do hold a position in Bitfarms. I want to show Cleanspark just for a second because I just want to show you this is on a massive, massive run up. So you guys can decide what you want to do with this. You know, there's two schools of thoughts. One is to go with momentum. Well, if you want to go with momentum, Cleanspark has massive momentum. The other school of thought would be to start taking profits once you're up this much. And I'm going to show you how much Cleanspark is up. From the close on January 27th, which was just about 2 months ago, not quite 2 months ago, until today, Cleanspark is up over 130%. So this has had a massive run to the upside. So again, it could keep running. You can see its November high was much higher than this. It was at 23 or 24. So that's almost another double from where it is right now. Having said that, it's just run up 131%. So this is a massive run. I will let you know through options I have taken some profits on this. So I'm kind of holding my stock and selling some of the options that I had. And again, this is not financial advice. You guys have to decide what you want to do. We just talked about the two different schools of thought, and I can't tell you which one's right or wrong. The other stock I want to look at is Marathon, and this is Marathon on the 4-hour time frame. So each one of these candles represents 4 hours. Just in the last just over a week, Marathon is up 40%, and it's up 50% off of its lows from February 24th. So this is a nice run. You'll see Marathon is basically just getting back to the white line, which is where it was at the end of the September bear market. Marathon's doing a little better than the average miner right now, and they're having a nice run. I did do a deep dive on Marathon. You can check out my thoughts on that further. But again, this has been a 40% run up in the last 6 or 7 trading days, so that's a nice run up. So that's what I got for you today on Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.